In the last class, we have seen about the blade element theory for vertical flight. Especially, we have seen the criteria with climb, right? So, although we have calculated the thrust required with using blade element theory, some factors we have considered, right? Before solving the blade element theory, we have done some consideration. So, one of the consideration is there is no twist angle, and the blade is having the same pitch angle. Okay, so same pitch angle in the sense the twist is neglected. Okay, so if we are including the twist angle, so what will be the thrust generation? So that we have to calculate. So apart from that, we have considered that inflow, that is induced flow, right? The induced flow is constant. We have studied about uniform throughout the blade rotor. Okay, so but in the real case, real scenario, there won't be uniformity. The at the tip, the uniform inflow will be larger. Inflow induced velocity will be larger throughout the span. When it is moving towards root section, the the induced flow will be non-uniform. Okay, so that's why. But when we are solving blade element theory, we have considered these two factors. Twist angle is neglected, and induced flow, that is inflow, is considered as a uniform flow. Okay, but in real life factor, both will be changing. Okay, because twist angle will be there, as well as the inflow is not uniform. Okay, so this two things we are going to see in this particular lecture. Okay, and how the equations are changing when we are including those factors. Okay, so I have taken the all the images and equations from basic helicopter aerodynamics only. So I recommend you also to follow the same book. So that will be good to understand the basic aerodynamics, helicopter aerodynamics. Okay. So the credit will always goes to Willy Publications. So thrust approximation, right? So apart from that twist angle, we have done some variation. Okay. So if you see here, uh, if the blade incidence alpha, right? We have seen in the blade element theory itself. So those who are absent in the previous lecture, I request you to watch it in the BB itself, so that you can easily understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. So the blade incidence alpha is measured from no lift line, and the stall compressibility effects can be neglected. Okay. So if we want to compare the CL versus alpha curve, right? Only we want to compare the CL versus alpha curve, right? So in that case, if we want to study about how the variation of CL for helicopter, okay, not for fixed wing. So CL versus alpha, how it will be, okay? So CL will be given directly proportional to alpha, right? So for understanding, I am marking infinity so that the difference will be known. Okay, so CL is directly proportional to alpha. So in order to make the constant, proportional constant, A, right? A alpha. Okay, so alpha is angle of incidence or blade incidence, and A is the slope factor. So when we are having a curve between CL and alpha, right? So this slope factor is considered as A. Okay. So this is an experiment, a theoretical experiment done by Clark. So Clark experimental analysis, based on that only the term alpha, right? So especially the A alpha, the slope factor. So it is having a value of 5.7. Okay. So this is additional information which you can have that. So the A value is 5.7. It was done by Clark experimental analysis. So those who are interested, you can read about Clark helicopter experimental analysis. That will be very much interesting. Okay. So CL is equal to A alpha. So alpha is from the blade element theory. That is, it is having a, right. So if this is U and this is omega R, right? and here our inflow is there, that is VC plus VC plus VI. Okay, so this is our inflow angle, that is pi. This is our inflow angle, right? So when we speak about angle of incidence, how we are calculating angle of incidence? So for that I will once share the image so that it will be easily understood. Okay, so I will share the previous slides. Kindly give me a second, I am sharing this slide. Right, okay, so this is the image. I hope you can see that. Can you able to see the image? Kindly use the chat. Can you able to see the image? Okay, sorry, kindly use the chat. Can you able to see that? No. Okay, then I will reshare that again once again. Okay, so now I hope you can see the screen, right? So you just look into the left side image, right? So where the inflow angle is given, the angle between the disk plane and the resultant flow. Okay, inflow, resultant inflow. So that is given as phi, and alpha is given with respect to blade's chord, right? Chord of the blade and the resultant flow. Okay, so if you see here, it is the blade incidence is similarly considered as angle of attack. Okay, so alpha is induced, like in some books they will be mentioning this angle of attack, but in some books they will be mentioning an angle of incidence. Okay, so alpha. So from here you can see from disk plane to chord, that is taken as pitch theta. Okay, so pitch theta. So if I want to calculate the alpha, so alpha is given with respect to alpha is equal to theta minus phi. Okay, so which we have seen in the derivational part of blade element theory also. Okay, so here it is there. So alpha is equal to theta minus phi. Okay, so now we have derived that CL is directly proportional to alpha, right? So there is a constant, proportionate constant, and it is a factor which is the slope of the curve between CL and alpha. Okay, right. So coming back to the slides, so instead of alpha we are replacing that theta minus phi. Okay, so this is the last coefficient of thrust equation which we have received from blade element theory. Okay, so if instead of substituting uh, CL, right, so we are replacing CL as A multiplied by theta minus phi. Okay, so instead of CL we are just using the formula, that is A multiplied by theta minus phi. Okay, since CL is directly proportional to alpha. Okay, so that's why I have given this plot experiment. A value is a constant term which is 5.7. Okay, since slope of curve, so the constant is taken outside the integral. Okay, so instead of CL, theta minus phi is taken inside. Okay, because it is a function of, depending upon the radius also it can change. Okay, so that's why x is given by, I hope you remember x, right? So it is given by r by small r by capital R. Okay, so I have explained in the last class also. So since x is depend on the radius and corresponding the pitch angle as well as importantly this phi, right? So it is also depending upon the radius also. Okay, inflow. So when we multiply the x square inside, so theta x square minus lambda x into dx, integral 0 to 1. Okay, so I hope you remember why the 1 is came, right? Instead of r they have kept 1 because we will be replacing this small r by capital. So when r and r, it is cancel 1. So 0 to 1 indicates that root to tip. 0 to 1 indicates root to tip of the blade. Okay. Right. So first we will consider with the concept with blade of zero twist, that is theta is constant. Okay. So for uniform induced flow, right? Uniform induced flow as assumed in simple momentum theory. Okay, because in momentum theory also we have calculated with uniform inflow as well as theta is constant. Okay, as well as theta is constant. Okay, so the inflow factor is remaining constant in momentum theory, that is lambda, right? So that is lambda is also constant. Okay, so in this circumstance the equation is changing little bit from here, right? So from here if we integrate, right? So x square will be given as x cube by 3, x power 3 divided by 3, right? So where x is given by x square by 2. Okay, x square by 2. Okay, so here we will be applying the limits 0 to 1. So you know that the other factors we will be knowing, and the coefficient of thrust. Kindly remember this equation, it is only calculated with zero twist and it is considered with uniform flow. Okay, right? So we are making the thrust approximation with pitch angle and inflow factor. Okay, so if we know the corresponding pitch angle, right? Because pilot is having a collective pitch control, right? So each and every collective pitch control, when he is up, when he is pulling up or pushing down, so he will know that how much deflection the blade will be giving, right? So depending upon that settings as well as the inflow velocity, right? So we can easily calculate the coefficient of thrust. Okay. So this will be applicable in rotor system also. If you are developing a new propeller concept for your quadcopters, so the same will be applicable to find out the thrust. Okay. See, buying and assembling, that is okay, which we are doing in drones and as well as everything. But designing and identifying the factors, how much thrust it is producing, so that has to be done through this formulas and all. Okay, right. So but ultimately the modern blades incorporate negative twist. Okay, so there was a twist angle is there, but in modern blades the negative twist is kept. Okay, so that's how the difference is starting. So initially we have found for zero twist, right? But ultimately the performance of the helicopter rotor blade will increase with some twist angle, right? So negative twist, decreasing the pitch angle towards the tip with the objective of evening out the blade loading distribution. Okay. So yesterday someone has asked that question about drag, right? So I think Jujara has asked. So here you can see, if we change the pitch angle at the tip, right? If we change the pitch angle only at the tip, that means pitch angle in near to the root and middle of the blade is different, and from middle to tip the pitch angle is different. I'm saying approximately. Okay, so let's consider Okay, so if there is a two pitch angle, right? So when we are using two pitch angle, the blade loading distribution can be like it can be made equal. Okay, because yesterday also I told when the forward moving blades, right, and the backward rearward moving blades, so in that way if we see that lift will be generated in the forward moving blades higher, whereas the blade which is going back, it will be generated lower. Okay, so in order to maintain those uneven conditions, right, so if we are making some pitch angle and if you are giving some twist at the tip section, so our helicopter performance will be good. Okay, so now we are implementing the twist angle, right? So we need to understand how the twist angle induction of twist angle is going to change the thrust coefficient. Okay, so for that, so if you see the equation here, that is theta is equal to theta naught minus kx. Okay, so kindly understand that. Once again I'm going back to the slides. So here we are seeing alpha. So alpha is with respect to theta minus phi. Okay. Now we are going to see one about theta. Okay. So during the past 2 years, people will get confused with this angle of incidence and the pitch angle. Okay. So that's why I am. This is the third time I'm taking the helicopter aerodynamics. So kindly note it down. Okay. So theta is given as initial pitch angle and change in pitch angle. Okay, so where x is indicating that r by r. Okay, so at which point this is a ratio of radius of the blade, right? Blade span, or you can call this blade span. So from which position we are going to have the negative twist. Okay, so k is the twist factor, linear twist expressed over the entire blade from root center to the blade tip. Okay, so modern blades can have twist variations which is non-linear. Using this form the thrust coefficient. Okay, so uh, in modern days we will be having non-linear, that is a twist angle will be also changing throughout the span length, but for this particular problem we can consider with a linear twist, so that we can identify how much the twist angle is changing. Okay, so this is the initial pitch angle, right, minus how much twist is there and at which place the twist is starting. So that's why it is given as r by r. Okay, so substituting this theta in this equation. Okay, so substitute the theta in that equation, right? So we will be getting when x is multiplied inside, right? So we will be getting same type of integration we have to do, and then we will be getting theta by 3 minus k by 4 minus lambda by 2. Okay, so let's compare the coefficient of thrust with non-twist and with twisting, right? So there is a factor which is included, that is linear twist. Okay, theta by 3, it is also there, minus lambda by 2, it's also there. So additional term is minus k by 4. Okay, so k is came like here it is x square. So already one x is there. So x square multiplied by x, that is x cube. So integrating x cube, it will be giving k by 4. Okay, so limit is 1. So when we apply that, we will be getting k by 4. Okay, so that is the difference between uh, with twist condition and without twist condition. So if suppose, right, I'm introducing a new blade pitch angle at 75% of the radius. Okay, so let's draw the rectangular shape, right? So if the blade is 100, right, blade span. Okay, so I'm taking a twist, change in twist at 75 centimeter. Okay, so let's consider this is root and this is tip. So I am introducing a twist angle at this place. Okay. So at this place towards the tip, I am making change in pitch angle. Okay. So in that case, right? So our x term, right? X is which we have seen previously in this slide, right? So theta naught minus k x, right? So x term will be given as, sorry, it was deleted. Okay, so I hope you can understand 75%, right? So 75 by 100, so we can consider that as 3 by 4. Okay, so minus 3 by 4 k. Okay, so when we are substituting again in this equation, so instead of theta I am marking it as 75%. Okay, 75 or theta 75. So theta 75 indicates that it includes the value of theta naught initial pitch minus 3 by 4 k. Okay, so in that equation we can write like this. So depending upon which place we want to keep the twist angle, we need to change our theta value. Okay, by using this formula theta naught minus k x, where k is the linear twist angle. Okay, right. So in overall term, right, in overall, if you want to say overall, so then we can take this as a equation itself with a non-twist. So when there is a twist is included, we need to use the formula, okay, where theta is equal to theta naught minus kx. Okay, right. So if you are introducing the hovering condition, right, one of the important vertical flight is hovering condition, because the most advantage of helicopter is it can hover, and it can vertical takeoff and vertical climb, but it can hover in the air also. Okay, so if we compare with a tilting rotor system as well as thrust vectoring, and even if you are tilting the wing also, okay, for a fixed wing aircraft, so the thrust required for those aircrafts is higher than the helicopters. Okay, so you can read about that also, that will be very much interesting. The thrust generated by, even you can take Lockheed Martin, right, F-35, right, it is having a vertical takeoff facility ability, and if you compare that and with the helicopter, right, so the power required for the helicopter is much lesser than the power required for lifting the F-35 vertical takeoff. Okay, because the thrust need to be generated higher in that case. Okay, so rotor system is having that much advantage, especially the helicopter in the hovering condition. Okay, so for the rotor to in hover, so this we have derived from momentum theory. I hope you remember. So I request you to get back to the slides once again, so that you can remember how we have derived this equation. So lambda I is induced velocity for hovering condition. So only I am speaking about hover. So the lambda will be changing for climb. The lambda will be changing for descent also. Okay. So for vertical, hovering, it will be lambda I equal to square root of coefficient of thrust divided by 2. Okay. Square root of coefficient of thrust divided by 2. Okay. So instead of lambda I in this equation, what I can substitute? Half rho Ct. So here instead of lambda, I can substitute half rho square root of Ct. Okay, so that's what I have substituted in here, right? So correspondingly, if I want to calculate the pitch angle, right? So if I want to make the helicopter hover in the air, right, at any altitude, so I need to make the pitch angle in this settings. Okay, so the pilot has to maintain the pitch angle so that theta is equal to 3 times. If we are cross multiplying everything towards here, right, so we will be getting 3 times coefficient of thrust divided by S is solidity factor, right? So rotor area divided by disc area. Okay, solidity factor. So A, we have know that it is slope and its value is 5.7 according to Clark experiment, and remaining is coefficient of thrust. Okay, CT. So if the pilot want to hover the helicopter at a certain altitude, if he knows the thrust, then he can easily, with the pitch angle, he can easily hover the helicopter. Okay, so for design conditions as well as in order to give the performance condition also, we have to include the pitch angle which is required to hover. Okay, suppose if you are doing an RC helicopter, right, and if you want to sell that, and if they ask at what pitch they want to maintain to hover over the helicopter, right, so you have to include in your manual, right. So I'm just saying for RC aircraft, even when Chinook came, right, so when Boeing's Chinook came, so at that time also there will be a manual. Okay, helicopter, how the pilot can maintain, how the pilot can fly, so that they will be giving this type of settings. So how much thrust required, how much pitch angle is required, so that the helicopter can hover in the air. Okay, right. So uh, from here, if we want to calculate lambda, right, so we can substitute lambda over here instead of finding theta. If you want to find the inflow factor, then we can just cross multiply accordingly, we will be getting lambda. So more or less we need any one of the parameter, then only we can easily identify the difference. Okay, right. So that's why that's the thrust approximation. So thrust approximation has been done with the twist angle. So now we are going to see about the inflow, right? That is induced flow, where in the momentum theory as well as in the beginning of blade element theory, we have considered as uniform inflow. That means constant inflow. You can see in this image. So we have considered that from 0, right, r, here it is given small r. So from 0 to 1, we have considered that the inflow is common. Okay, the induced flow is common. Okay, so I don't know whether you remember my first lecture. I have shown you the picture how the induced flow is varying. So let me open that one so that you can easily understand. Kindly give me a second. I am opening. Kindly give me a second. I am just searching that. Okay, so I have taken. I am sharing right now. So I hope you can see the screen, right? Okay. So here, this is the image I have taken from FAA, Helicopter Flying Handbook. So you can also find that in their website, FAA itself, and it is free for learning. So you can download that also. Okay. So here you can see the induced flow, which we have seen as a steam tube condition, right? So if you see at the tip, the inflow will be larger, right? Throughout the span, it is keep on reducing, right? So here you can see in the right side image, right? So the effect of inflow is at the tip it is higher, towards the root it will be decreasing. Okay. So but while solving the momentum theory and blade element theory, we have taken that as constant. So now we are studying about non-uniformity. If the flow is non-uniformity, how the thrust and what are the changes are going to happen. Okay, right. So in this graph, you can easily understand the same which I have shown in the picture also of FAA book. So that is represented here also. So inflow, sorry. So inflow is here, right? So it is consider this is the tip, root. Okay. So at root approximately it tends to 0 induced velocity. Okay, lambda. So whereas if you are seeing tip, so the induced flow is having coefficient of induced flow we can take. Okay, so 0.05, right? So another term is there, integrant. Integrant is nothing but the pitch angle. If we are having change in twist angle, right? So then the variation of induced flow will be also there. So that's why it is mentioned as integrant. So if you see the integrant curve, it is given over here, right? So without pitch angle change, the induced flow will be like this. Okay, right? So with integrand, it will be nearly linear. Okay, so it will be like a parabolic if we don't have the inflow. Okay, right. So I hope you can understand that. Okay, so far the assumption has made is induced velocity is uniform across the rotor disk. In idealist situation, especially in fixed wing aircrafts, right? So the elliptical loaded wing, right? We have studied about asphalt efficiency also, right? Elliptical loaded wing will be in the fixed wing aircraft, which will generate a uniform downwash effect, right? In fixed wing. So the effect of non-uniformity can be introduced by dividing the rotor disc into elements of concentric annuli. Elements of concentric annuli, in the sense they are saying that if you are finding various elemental places like R, by keeping the width of like which we have applied in blade element theory, right? So we have taken a small elemental area, right? And we have calculated the thrust required based on that elemental area, and we have integrated from whole blade root to tip. Okay. So in order to identify the non-uniformity, we have to divide further. We have to divide into each section, and we have to find with respect to each and every elemental areas. Okay, right. So and apply blade element theory and momentum theory as before. Okay, so when we split each and every region, and if you find the inflow, then we can use that for finding the thrust equation, position of thrust with blade element theory and momentum theory. Okay, right. So the same is given over here with respect to the image, which whatever I have explained. So that's what given in here. Okay. Right. So if you see that thrust equation, right? Thrust equation, blade element theory, right? Half rho v u square. This is u square, right? So u square tends to ohm r, right? U square tends to ohm r, omega r. So omega r the whole square. N is number of blade, and CDR is area, right? So this entire factor is given as CL. Okay, so I have mentioned here, yes, CL is equal to A alpha, that A multiplied by theta minus phi, right? So that phi is given as inflow angle, right? So I hope you remember the blade element theory again. So I will be drawing that graph. So this is the triangle, and this is phi, right? So this is omega r, right? Or we can say it u. Okay, so our inflow will be acting here, right? So in blade element theory, we have taken as VC plus VI. Okay. So now we are going to see about the hovering condition only. Okay. So VC will be 0. Okay. So VC will be 0. So VI. So if I want to find the phi, I have to find opposite by adjacent. Tan of phi, right? Opposite by adjacent. Then tan inverse will be small. So instead of phi, we can approximately write VI by omega. Okay. So instead of phi, we have written VI by omega r. Okay. Right. So if we introduce the lambda, right? So lambda I. So if you see this equation, we are splitting that omega r and r, small r. So the small r is multiplied inside. Okay. So r means r power 2. So here when we are multiplying that r power 2 inside, so we will be getting theta r power 2. So here again we will be getting r square. So r square and this r will be getting cancelled. So r multiplied by Vi by omega. Okay, Vi by omega, it will be there. Okay. So in blade element theory, we have seen that r multiplied by V by omega, right? So that can be equal to lambda I multiplied by capital R. Okay. So you just have a look at your blade element theory. This equation will be there. So the rate of dt, the thrust variation, right? So the thrust variation during hovering can be done with the induced flow. Okay. So when we are integrating, then we can correspondingly get the change in non-uniform flow also. Okay. Yeah, I have explained here since I am having last 5 minutes, right? So whatever we have did so far, we have explained here. So the thrust is given with respect to mass flow rate, which is basic from momentum theory, right? So this is from blade element theory, where we have calculated with angles. This is momentum theory, where we have calculated with velocity and pressure factor. Okay. So this is based on the momentum theory. So this is based on the blade element theory. Okay. So although we are calculating with respect to velocity factor, the thrust is calculated with the velocity factor and pressure factors. Here we have calculated with the variation of angles, right, and inflow induced velocity, right. So we are equating the both the equations, thrust calculated from momentum theory and thrust calculated using blade element theory. We are equating both the equations. So from there we are getting a quadratic equations that will be given to identify the induced flow for hovering. Okay. So although we have identified momentum theory induced velocity in the momentum theory, this equation which we have found at the end, so this will give non-uniform inflow velocity. Okay, non-uniform inflow velocity, because change in pitch angle is mentioned, that is theta multiplied by x. So x is nothing but small r by r, right? So based on that, our lambda I will also vary. Okay, so this is the equation. Before we have seen lambda is equal to square root of Ct by 2, right? So this is general equation where you will be getting most approximate value, and also it is uniform flow. Consider with uniform flow with this equation, since the x is included in here, so the variation will be according to non-uniform inflow factor. Okay, right. So I request all of you to look into the Seddon book once, so that you can get the step-by-step procedure. So although many steps are skipped in the book, so those skipped steps I have explained in this lecture also. So you can watch the lecture again, so that you can easily understand how I have derived the equation and what the equation is representing. Okay. So here the equation is representing with non-uniform flow, whereas in momentum theory it is just expressing with uniform inflow. Okay, right. So with this I am ending the session for today.